Why were the German people so unwilling to give the Weimar Republic their support? The story of the Republic began in 1918, at the end of the First World War. It had a short, troubled history, and it ended in 1933, when Hitler came to power. Before the First World War, power in Germany had been concentrated in the hands of the Kaiser, or Emperor. But late in 1918, the war was going badly for Germany. There was a danger it would be invaded. Then President Wilson published his 14 points. Germany's military leaders saw the chance to negotiate better peace terms on the basis of these proposals before the war reached German territory. When they asked the Allies for a ceasefire, Wilson insisted that the Kaiser abdicate and Germany become a democracy. The generals refused and ordered the armed forces to go back to war. But the men in the army and navy knew the war was as good as lost. They'd had enough. Some mutinied. The generals then had to tell the Kaiser he no longer controlled his armed forces.
The army will march home in peace and order under its leaders and commanding generals, but not under the command of your Majesty, for it no longer stands behind your Majesty. Today, oaths of loyalty have no substance.
The Kaiser was stunned.
Betrayal. Utter betrayal,
he said. He abdicated and fled to the Netherlands, leaving a power vacuum that had to be filled. An elected parliament was set up called the Reichstag. The Socialist Party was the largest. Their leader was Friedrich Ebert, who had campaigned against the Kaiser for democracy for years. He became the new leader of a democratic Germany as the Weimar Republic came into being. Ebert swore,
"To witness the new principle of the German people, for freedom, justice and social welfare."
Ebert's vision was that the Republic would exist for the benefit of its people, but he never managed to make it popular with them. The first thing that made it unpopular was its association with the Versailles Treaty. Germans hated the Treaty of Versailles. It forced Germany to disarm and took away territory, colonies and people. It treated Germany like a vanquished enemy, even though in 1918 the generals had sued for a negotiated peace. As one returning soldier remembered it,
believing in the 14 points of President Wilson, we frontline soldiers then allowed the most terrible treason of world history to take place. The Red traitor Ebert sold out our people and signed the Treaty of Versailles.
Ebert had had nothing to do with drafting the treaty, but the Allies threatened to go back to war and he was forced to sign it or face Germany being invaded. Ebert, and by association the Weimar Republic, were blamed for the treaty. People on the right said that Germany had been stabbed in the back by Ebert and the Socialists. In 1924, Adolf Hitler wrote in Mein Kampf,
"So it had all been in vain all the sacrifices, in vain the death of 2 millions. Had they died for this, so a gang of wretched criminals could lay their hands on the fatherland?"
Although Germany was now a republic, many industrialists, judges, civil servants and officers in the armed forces who'd been part of the Kaiser's Germany still held prominent positions. They weren't used to democracy. It involved too much compromise, discussion and negotiation. It appeared weak compared to the Kaiser's iron hand. Ebert also faced opposition from people with radical political views, on the left and on the right, who were prepared for armed rebellion. On the left were the communists. Rosa Luxemburg led one group known as the Spartakists.
The working class must above all else strive to get the entire political power of the state into its own hands. All social wealth, the land with all its natural resources, and all factories and works must be taken out of the hands of the exploiters and taken into common property of the people.
On the right were the Freikorps, who favoured a return to rule by the Kaiser. They were sworn enemies of the communists. Massive street battles in 1919 threatened to turn into civil war. Of the two opponents, Ebert felt the communists posed the more serious threat to Germany. So, in the summer of 1919, Ebert did a deal with the Freikorps. Together with the German army, they crushed the communists. Many of them were killed, including Rosa Luxemburg. The communists now hated the socialists and would never support them in the Reichstag. Ebert also had problems with the German economy. Again, they were rooted in the Treaty of Versailles. In this German cartoon from 1919, a woman representing Germany tries to reassure her starving child.
When we have paid 100 billion marks, then I can give you something to eat.
This cartoon is commenting on the difficulties Germany had trying to raise the money to make reparations payments to the Allies. In 1923, Germany missed a payment. French and Belgian troops occupied the Ruhr, Germany's most important industrial region, to take what they were due in the form of goods. Ebert ordered a strike, so there'd be nothing to take. The people of the Ruhr willingly obeyed. They were angry at the occupation. One eyewitness recalled,
I shall never forget the mood of the people, the enemy in our country. Years of an unjust occupation. Do you blame me for cheering every successful assault on the taken-over railroads and occupation troops?
The French dealt ruthlessly with the strikers. They killed 100 and expelled 100,000 people from the region. But the cost was even greater. Industrial output from the Ruhr was critical to the German economy. The strike had a damaging effect. Ebert made another mistake. He printed more money. That money lost its value, and this caused enormous inflation, which was remembered for years to come. Ebert's career was over. He was replaced by Gustav Stresemann. Stresemann seemed to know how to sort out Germany's problems. He called off the strike in the Ruhr. He introduced a new currency called the Rentenmark. And he negotiated with the Allies to reduce the level of the reparations payments Germany would have to make. Most significantly, Stresemann also borrowed huge sums from the USA under the Dawes Plan. This money helped Germany start paying reparations again and created something of an economic boom throughout the country. People were better off and more content. Weimar Germany also experienced a cultural boom. German design, film, theatre and music became famous for innovation and daring. For the first time, people enjoyed freedom of speech, and artists and audiences alike embraced these new liberated times. So between 1924 and 1929, the extreme political groups lost some of their appeal. But the resentments and bad memories of the early 20s lurked in the back of many minds. When the good times went away, Adolf Hitler was able to exploit these feelings. By 1933, he was running Germany, and the Republic was doomed.